We all know that Snowpark API can be used in three programming languages: Python, Java, and Scala. And if you have been following this Snowpark Python playlist so far, you will have an obvious question. Why do I need to know more about other programming languages support for Snowpark? Yes, you are right. And this is not a hands-on guide to show how to code in Java or Scala for Snowpark. But if you have to grow as a true Snowflake professional, from data engineers to lead to an architect, it is important for you to know how these two programming languages are different from Python as long as Snowpark API is concerned, and how hard or easy to become more aware of them, and their limitations, and why Snowflake gives more weightage to Python API over Java or Scala. Is it because Python has more machine learning libraries or something else? This is a short and quick informative chapter. We will see the simple code snippet of Python versus Java versus Scala Snowpark program, some of their dependencies and limitations. We will talk about developers' friendliness with respect to setup, specifically setting up IDEs for Java or Scala, secure runtime sandbox for Python versus Java versus Scala, and a very high level architectural concept. Build-in Anaconda packages for Python secure sandbox, and how does it reduce the dependency management overhead. Welcome back to my channel Data Engineering Simplified, and to this everything about Snowpark playlist for true data professionals and data engineers like you. And in this episode 6, we will become aware of Snowpark for Java and Scala and the advantage Python API brings when it comes to Snowpark. We have already finished last 5 episodes in this playlist. We are going to discuss many different topics related to Snowpark which is covered in this 12-part series. You can pause the video, review the topic from this list, and jump to a specific episode if that interests you. Links for all the videos can be found in the description section or above in the info icon. These videos are recorded in 4K resolution. Follow the instruction for better resolution and to learn it faster. Before we proceed, I have a quick announcement. I have published more than 100 videos covering different topics under different playlists. And if you find it hard to get into a specific topic or a subtopic or a concept, refer this summary card or a cheat sheet which will help you to find that specific question or video faster. Refer the description section for download instructions. For additional queries or a specific question or the latest version of the cheat sheet, feel free to drop a note to my Instagram account. So let's start with Java Scala Snowpark program. If you are new to Java programming language, then you need to know how this works. First, we need to create a Java file, compile them to get a .class file, and then run the .class file to get the result. And to compile and run, we need to make sure we have JDK 11 installed as well as Snowpark jar downloaded and configured. To avoid all those complexities, I am using VS Code where my extension pack Java is already installed, including Maven for Java. I am using Maven Package Manager to include Snowpark library. Once the Snowpark library is installed, my Java program is ready to run using VS Code. Like Python, we have to start with importing the Snowpark libraries, followed by Java class name, followed by enabling the logging. The first important step is to define a Snowflake account parameter. It looks a bit different from our Python program. However, it serves the same purpose. This parameter detail is passed to get the session object. Via session object, you can run SQL command and work with the data frame. In this example, we have two queries running. One is context data frame and second is customer data frame. If you look into the comment above, you see Python equivalent statements and they look very close to each other. There are some minor differences, like in this example, the show function has more restriction in Java compared to Python approach. So let's run this Snowpark Java program. So my program got executed successfully and here my result is. So this is my first data frame where result is printed here through show command. And this is my query execution plan, very similar to your Snowpark Python version. So this is my next statement where I am renaming the column, and finally this is the show command which brings all the result on the screen. Okay, so when I keep the program side by side, they look almost the same. Here we have a property file, here we also have the property file, then here we have this connection object, and here also we have a connection object, and then we get the data frame through the session object and finally run the show command, and here also exactly the same thing. If you look into the data frame API and the session API, you don't find much difference between Java and Python. However, setting up Java through IDE, running it and packaging it through Maven package manager is slightly complex than the Python. And if you do not have good experience managing Java project, you would find it little hard to manage your Snowpark program using Java programming language. If you have never seen how the POM.xml or Maven package manager looks like, this is the example. This is my POM.xml, which has all the dependencies available here. And the way in your pip install, you install the Snowpark Python library. Same way, when you run the Java program, you have to go through the lifecycle to package your Snowpark program before your Java program really runs and establish a connection with a Snowflake. Now let's talk about Snowpark for Scala. We all know Scala needs a Java runtime environment, and whichever program you write in Scala is eventually converted into a Java program, and then this Java bytecode runs using your JVM. I have used VS Code to set up my Scala environment, and again, setting up Scala environment is slightly complex than setting up Python or Java. You need to have a plugin called Metal alongside your JVM setup on your VS Code. You also have to make sure that your Scala and JVM version matches to support your Snowpark execution. This is my build.sbt, which is nothing but Scala build tool. And here I have specified which version of Snowpark I am going to use for this program. You don't need to understand how the SBT works. I am just showing this configuration. If you want to use Snowpark with Scala, this configuration has to be provided in your VS Code environment. Going back to my main.scala program, here I am creating a variable of map type where I am specifying key value pair to connecting to my Snowflake instance. Like Python and Java, I am establishing a session by calling the session.builder.config.create method. And once you get the session object, rest of your operations are very similar. Here I am calling session.sql and exactly the same context data frame and printing the data frames, and this show method does not enforce me, very similar to the Python. So your Scala code looks more closer to Python compared to Java. And this is my customer DF where I'm printing 3 columns from the customer table and I am just renaming them. Let's run this. So if you look into the result, this is the result for the customer DF. And this is your data frame execution plan, and this is your context function. Okay, so when you try to set up a Python, it is relatively easy. You simply set up a Snowpark package using pip install, and then you are all ready to start your Snowpark development for Python. However, for Scala and Java, there are little complexity because setting up your VS Code or setting up your local environment is little challenging. For example, in Scala, we have added this Metal plugin, and if you look into the overall package structure or a folder structure, there are a lot of packages and it will confuse you if you are very new and have never used Scala or a Java. And if you have followed my previous playlist, this is how the Python program looks like. Let's quickly review the query history. How does it look like and what kind of information can be tracked through the query history when you are using your Java or Scala Snowpark program. I have already filtered my user with demo 005. If your Snowpark program is running through Java API, then you would see that Snowpark_Java data frame .show. And if your program is running through Snowpark Scala API, the message will appear like this. This is the only differentiation. And if you see, all my client drivers are Snowpark 1.8.0. right? On the other side, if I run Snowpark on Python, it says Snowpark Python Snowpark 1.3.0. So query tag and driver combining together will help you to understand whether it is a Java Snowpark API or Scala Snowpark API or Python Snowpark API. No matter how do you write your code, all of them are finally getting converted into SQL. So here, if I see this particular query statement, which is primarily running a select statement and then renaming those column name to the new name as we have specified in our program. Let's understand Snowpark Java API dependency. For Java, Snowpark library is distributed through Maven. The current version for Snowpark Java API is 1.8. Java virtual machine which is required to run Snowpark program is 11.x. If you try to run the higher version, it doesn't work. Snowflake Java runtime sandbox does not have any pre-installed library for Java. Let's talk about Snowpark Scala API dependency. The current Snowpark Scala API can run only on 2.12.x. If you use Scala 2.13.x, it will fail with a runtime error. Supported JVM for Scala is 11.x. You can also use Scala REPL with configuration and run your Snowpark program. For Scala, the installation can be done through the Maven package manager or through the SBT package manager. Current Snowpark Scala API version is 1.8. Don't get confused with Scala version or JDK version. Snowflake Scala runtime sandbox does not have any pre-installed libraries. So we have seen how to run Snowpark Java and Snowpark Scala program, their limitations and their dependency. We have also spoken about sandbox limitation with respect to pre-installed library. Now let's see what all pre-installed libraries are available when you try to run Snowpark for Python versus Snowpark for Java and Scala. Let's go back to our Snow site. When Snowflake introduced this programming support for Snowpark, they have also introduced a view called packages. And this package view is available in your information schema. You can run a select statement where you can specify for language Scala what all informations are available. Let's run and discuss the result. So the result which comes on my screen says that it has only pom.snowflake.snowpark. Only this library for Scala is available. There is no other library pre-installed in Snowflake. When I change this value from Scala to Java, and let's run this. Here also it says com.snowflake.snowpark and they have 1.2 to 1.8. Okay, no other library installed. When I change the value from Java to Python, I got close to 5.4k record, and almost different kind of libraries are available to run to support your Python runtime environment. And now you may have a question, does it support some kind of machine learning library? Yes, it does. Let me change the query. So here you see the different version of Keras is available for you to run your code. Since Snowflake has partnered with Anaconda to make sure that all the secure sandbox is available for your Python program, and it is encouraging more and more Python and machine learning developer to perform the Snowpark-based development. Now you have a clear answer why Snowflake is supporting Python more and more, and how this programming language varies with respect to their syntax, and what are the challenges and limitations if you are going to choose any one of the languages for your Snowpark development. I assume this chapter has given good awareness and high-level understanding about Snowpark API for Java and Scala, and why Snowpark is pushing more Python API over other APIs. However, there is a Apache Spark program which is written in Java or Scala. Snowflake wants to ensure that it supports those migration, and that's why it is creating parallel development which supports Java programming language as well as Scala programming language. Thanks for watching episode 6. If you have learned something valuable from this episode, don't forget to press on the like button and share with other data engineers and Snowflake developers. And if you are curious to know, can you run a Snowpark program using Databricks Notebook, I would request you to watch my episode 7, which will throw a complete light on how to run a Snowpark program using your Databricks Notebook. Happy learning and keep growing.